Greetings, fellow Arrow fans. We're looking at Arrow Season 6 now continues on with Divided. The episode begins with Kate and James, Black Siren, and Ricardo Diaz entering the office of the Bertinelli crime family. Kate offers to purchase his organization, however, Bertinelli isn't interested. Black Siren then uses her sonic blast on him, throwing him against the wall. Keaton gives him 48 hours to accept, or else they'll hurt his little girl. Oliver Queen, Felicity Smoke, and John Diggle are at the Arrow HQ attempting to find Kate and James. However, they're having no luck. Oliver goes to leave and runs into Curtis, who should help Diggle with his tremors. The Queen strolls into Quentin Lance's office, asking whether he needs a partner. Lance recruits her as his chief of staff. Curtis' first model for the tech Diggle's hand has a few issues. Felicity and Diggle converse with one another and hear a strange reverberation, warning them they've been bugged. Vincent Sobel goes to speak with Dinah at the Star City PD. The two consent to a date. Felicity and Diggle meet Oliver in a protected spot away from HQ and illuminate him they've been pestered. They think about Siren pestered their spot months prior. Alarm goes off about a break-in at a security organization. Oliver searches there and discovers that Jerry Bertinelli set the alarm off so that he can make contact with the Green Arrow. Arrow goes to Bertinelli's office. Bernie tells him about the visit from Kate and James and his comrades and requests Oliver's assistance. Oliver takes the hard drive that Bertinelli offered him to Felicity and Diggle to hack into it. Rene Ramirez is preparing his daughter for the afternoon. There's a knock on the door. It's Curtis and he has brought over some food. Rene expresses regret to Curtis about flipping sides on Oliver. Dinah and Vincent are strolling on their date, sharing tales about their past. The two quickly kiss before Vincent's telephone begins going off, and it's quickly because one of his targets has surfaced. Thea is conversing with Oliver in his office and reveals to him she's upset about not having the option to help the Green Arrow in the field. Oliver's telephone rings, and Felicity discovers a location for Caden, and Oliver takes off alone to find him. Oliver's ready to shoot Black Siren and takes out some tea circles that Caden had recently taken. Caden taunts Oliver that he has friends while Oliver doesn't. They surround Oliver, but Caden lets Oliver get away, saying that there's a time and place for his death. Thea strolls into Lance's office and finds her new supervisor looking through a photo album loaded with pictures of him and Laurel. Thea discloses to him that he is a dad to her and instructs him not to go down that way as it could get him slaughtered. Felicity and Diggle assemble Renee, Dinah, and Curtis. They show up at Felicity's place, and they tell Renee, Curtis, and Dinah that Keaton has been watching them for quite a long time, and they've all been undermined. Felicity at that point lets them know that Keaton is working with Bratva, Diaz, and Vigilante. She urges them to get over their grudge against Oliver, but they refuse. An annoyed Dinah stomps out of the room. Oliver meets with Bertinelli by the docks. Oliver consents to work with Bertinelli on the condition that Bertinelli does what he says. Dinah gets together with Vincent once more, and she punches him, upset he's working with Caden. She cuffs him and tries to take him in. However, he overwhelms her and knocks her out, then gets away. Oliver and Diggle meet and discuss the state of the team. Oliver says he can't trust them, and that Diggle, Felicity, and himself are enough to stop Caden. Curtis and Renee are investigating documents at Renee's when Dinah busts in and tells them she just got in a fight with Vincent. She blames herself and says they go after Caden themselves. They agree to form their own team. Oliver and Diggle meet Felicity at Arrow HQ once more. Felicity tells them that she has learned from the hard drive that Bertinelli plans to bring the Red Lions, a Chechnyan death squad. Oliver acknowledges that Bertinelli will need an army to keep what's his and asks where they are. Blackstar and Key discuss Bertinelli's hiring of the Red Lions. Suggests they kill Bertinelli to send a message. Keaton agrees, saying something for Bertinelli's argument to meet his. At the docks, Diaz and his men attack the Red Lions. Oliver jumps out for the scene in the midst of the gunfight and begins taking out soldiers on Diaz's side. Visitor Mill controls several T-spheres which electrocute soldiers. And Charlie puts a gun at Oliver to stand down. The vigilante attacks him from behind. Bertinelli attempts to get away, but Kanan has his men shot and tells him it doesn't have to end like this. Vigilante holds Oliver down while a red panel flashes on Oliver's sleeve. A series of explosions go off in the warehouse and Oliver gets away. Bertinelli gives up and takes Kanan to the port. Diaz shoots him in the head while Kanan says he won't let Bertinelli. Well, Kanan says that he won't kill Bertinelli's daughter. Oliver, Felicity, Diggle, Renee, Curtis, and Dinah all meet at Felicity's. Oliver opens up and concedes that, as dad, He knows why Renee turned state's evidence. He started putting Renee, Curtis, and Dinah under surveillance, saying it was a breach of trust. All requests that things return to normal, yet Dinah, Curtis, and Renee refuse. Curtis says that things can't go back to the way they were. Felicity objects, but Renee says that Kate and James didn't break up the team. Oliver's leadership is mistrusted. Dennis says he won't shrink their responsibility to the city. Before he leaves, Curtis gives Diggle another implant for his tremors, saying he thinks he eliminated the glitch. Quentin walks into his office to discover an envelope on the desk, bringing with pictures of Laurel. He enters and says she needed help, saying she needed help to add to his photograph collection. She said together maybe they could figure out how to get through to Laurel. Curtis takes Renee and Dinah to another refuge she set up in Helix's old Central Command. They celebrate with a drink, and Dinah says she's glad to have partners she can trust. Keen approaches Vince about his relationship with Dinah and reveals how he knows about their previous altercation. Vince assures him that he'll handle Dinah. Felicity gives John his new hand implant and it works, removing his tremors. Excited grabs a gun and holds it steady. Hmm. So let's take a look at some trivia surrounding this episode. This episode, along with following episode We Fall, forms the saying Divided, We Fall, referencing how new Team Arrow's inability to rename Team Arrow is leading to Keenan James' victory. Interestingly, Divided We Fall is also the title of the 12th episode of Season 2 of the Justice League Unlimited animated series. The episode was previously titled Bugged. The Panamax freighter Huntress, as mentioned by the Brunei crime family, is a ship that could pass through the Panama Canal. Black Siren's sonic kiss is similar to Sonya Blade's from the Mortal Kombat video game series. While talking about the chip for John's hand, Felicity assures her that she and Curtis have the technology, to which John states he's not the $6 million man. These are references to the TV show The $6 Million Man, in which a titular character has superpowers due to bionic implants in his body. Helena Bertinelli is mentioned to be underground by her cousin Jerry. This is looking out to Jessica D. Gau's period drama series Underground. Jerry tells Green Arrow that he's a hard person to find, and that's why he doesn't have some sort of arrow-shaped spotlight in the sky as a signal. Excuse me. This is a reference to the bat signal used by Batman. The bat signal appeared on screen in Batwoman. When Oliver, Felicity, and Dougal are at their makeshift Argus bunker trying to find Kaden and his cabal, there's camera footage to find out that Kaden's car has the license number 4S5HL3. When translated from language 1337 or lead, it's only missing a zero to spell out asshole. The current reads ASHLE. Felicity and Dougal mention two famous first-person shooter video game franchises, Halo and Call of Duty. Regarding loss against Kaden, Felicity talks to Oliver about the movie Bull Durham, and they reference one of his quotes. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes it rains. So I think this episode is pretty interesting, and I really do hope that the two different teams hopefully reunite back to, the actual Team Arrow. So yeah. So overall, I give Divided 4 arrowheads out of 5. But anyway, tune in as we take a look at the next episode. We Fall. So until then, in the words of Oliver Queen, you have failed this city.